Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. Topping our news at noon, a troubling story out of Southfield. The sound of a gun pierces a quiet evening. Police are investigating after a man and a woman were found dead from apparent gunshot wounds in Southfield. They were found at the Evergreen Meadows apartment complex right there on Evergreen Road, just south of I-696. It happened just last night in a blaze of gunfire. Local 4's Rod Maloney has been out on the scene since very early this morning. Rod, any new developments?
Yes, quite a few actually, Rhonda. And take a look behind me. This is where the murder happened. You can see the glass of the driver's side window of one of the cars that was towed away here on the ground there. This was a domestic murder-suicide. A couple not having a good relationship, got into a fight last night, wound up here, and now two people are dead. This was the scene overnight. Southfield police found a woman dead in her car and a man dead on the ground outside that car, both shot with a handgun. Southfield Police Chief Eric Hawkins tells us it appears their bodies were on and in the driveway for a couple of hours before a neighbor coming home from work around midnight discovered them and called 911.
Some of the residents said they heard some sounds somewhere around 9 or 10 o'clock last night. They were unsure the source and what those sounds were, but we never received a call.
This is the couple in a much happier time. Dana Taylor Bry, 43 at the time, and then 50-year-old Avery Eugene Bry. Dana worked as a probation officer for the Department of Corrections. Avery Bry was retired. Marital problems cropped up. They finalized their divorce earlier this month. They apparently had a fight at their Detroit home last night when Dana drove to her condo only to find trouble. Her ex waiting for her with a gun. She ran back to her car, throwing belongings on the ground, trying to escape.
She had been shot multiple times. The male half sustained what appears to be a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. Both deceased at the scene.
3 different vehicles were towed from the scene. Dana's Jeep Compass with the window shot out and 2 others. It was an emotional scene when family members found out. They gathered at Southfield Police headquarters. One family member, overcome with emotion, needed an ambulance. Now, police are telling us that they believe this was just the fight between the couple and that there is no further threat here. They're awaiting autopsy results to help them confirm what it is they believe they know about this case, but they expect to close it fairly soon. Back to you.
Well, Rod, you mentioned that neighbors actually discovered this horrific scene. Have you been able to talk to any of the neighbors in that general vicinity about what they knew about this couple?
Yes, they've not been especially forthcoming. We talked to one neighbor who actually discovered the scene last night. She told us that when the woman moved in, when Ms. Bry moved into the apartment complex last summer, she had a lot of family, a lot of help. But then she said she really never saw anybody ever again, and that Ms. Bry didn't have communication with anybody that they knew of in the neighborhood.